Welcome all of you. My name is Rajeshwari. Our Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University cordially welcomes you for National Webinar Program on the topic of Technology Blended Curricular Activities. Now I invite respected registrar and convener of this program. I kindly request you, sir, to give the welcome address. Please, sir.
A pleasant morning to all of you. At the outset, let me thank the Almighty for giving me an opportunity to wish you and welcome you for this online national webinar on technology blended curricular activities. First of all, let me thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Panjanathan sir, for motivating and encouraging us to organize this national webinar. I feel immensely happy to welcome our most respected resource person, Dr. J. Jagannathan, Assistant Professor, Department of National Security Studies, Central University of Jammu and Kashmir. I accord a warm welcome to Dr. Jagannathan on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, on behalf of my own in the capacity of Register in Charge, on behalf of the Department of Curriculum Planning and Evaluation, on behalf of the entire teaching community who are very eager to hear from you, sir. I profoundly welcome Dr. A. Rajeshwari, Organizing Secretary of this online webinar. I also sincerely welcome the coordinators of this online program, Dr. Devshree, Dr. Senthil Kumar, and Dr. K. Vijaya. Last but not least, I wish you one and all for the success of this online webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind welcome address. The main objectives of this webinar program is to learn blended learning, the benefits of blended learning, how to make blended learning work in our classroom, and how technology is integrated into the curricular activities. It is the right time to introduce our eminent resource person, Dr. J. Jagannathan sir. He is a senior assistant professor in the Department of National Security at the Central University of Jammu. His research interests include India's internal security, foreign and security policy of India, China in South Asia, comparative religionism, geopolitics and border studies. He is using technology extensively in teaching and research activities, both curricular and extracurricular activities. Prior to this, he was a research fellow in the Internal and Regional Security Program 2011 to 13 and headed the South Asia Regional Security Program focusing on Afghanistan and Iran at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies. He has a MPhil PhD in European Studies from the School of International Studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has been a visiting fellow to Sudan, China, and Germany, and Belgium, and more countries. He is currently working on a research project titled Implications of China's One Belt, One Road project for India's national security, a sub-regional perspectives, Jammu and Kashmir. Sponsored by the UGC. He was taken project in charge of an international project and successfully completed. He is currently the country coordinator India, Varieties of Democracy Project, member of Indian Policy Group of Frederick Ebert Stefunk, and member of Nuclear Stability in South Asia Project. He writes for national and regional newspapers including Times of India and also participated in TV debates He also published articles national and international journals and co-edited the books. Now I hand over the session to Dr. Jagannathan sir. Welcome sir.
Shall I start?
Yes sir, start your present.
Okay. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. A. Rajeshwari, Madam, for giving me this opportunity, and also would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University for making this course available to the vast number of teachers, and also like to thank Professor Dr. V. Balakrishnan, the Registrar in charge of the Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University. Thank you very much for your welcome remarks, sir. And also like to thank all the other coordinators, Dr. Sendil Kumar, Dr. Vijaya, Dr. Vijaya Madam, all of you. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'll thank you all the participants who have enrolled for this course. And also special thanks to Dr. A. Rajeshwari for reading out my CV, and thank you very much. And I belong to a different discipline, so totally different discipline. However, I have been having experience in terms of implementing the technology in our curriculum development and also the curriculum deliverance. I have also attended many of these national level workshops on the e-learning, MOOC courses, Swayam portal, and creating the contents. So today I am going to speak or discuss on the technology blended curriculum activities. Before I start, I have 2-3 requests. One, if I'm not audible to anyone, you can just drop a message so that Madam will come to know. Since we have a large number of participants, more than 250 participants. So if there is any technical glitches you may face, I kindly request all of you to drop a message so that the host would come to know, or we would come to know that you are facing a difficulty. With this remarks, may I now proceed, Madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today's lecture has 4 broader objectives. The first objective is the definition of blended learning. What we are talking about is we are going to talk about this blended learning or the blended technology blended curricular activities. The second objective is to map or identify what are the benefits of the blended learning in terms of for the teachers as well as for the students. Then we will see that how we are going to blend this learning work in our classroom. This is very important critical part. We do hear many lectures either from the online mode or offline mode regarding integrating the technology into the classroom. But when it comes to practice, we face a lot of difficulties and problems and challenges. We are going to discuss those issues in the third objective. The last objective is also related to that how are we going to integrate technology into the curricular activities, whatever the best and simple ways possible and available. The last I have added with from the request of Professor Rajeshwari to demonstrate to the participants some sort of the hands-on real-life experience. So I'm going to show that how I have blended the curriculum into online and technology mode and how we have progressed. And I will give you an example of how we can use the simple platform like Moodle in terms of delivering at least 20 to 50% of your content online. So gradually bring the students into the blended mode. These are my broad objectives. So before, so I'm going to start. Let's focus on the first objective. What is blended learning objective? The screen is visible? The slide is visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. What is blended learning? So far, we have been, our generation at least, we belong to a certain generation, have had a luxury of, or I would say even the torturers of going to school and sitting in the brick mortar structure and learning. That has been the traditional learning, and this has been there. The learning is also learning, and the teaching is a process which is also evolving from time to time. So we used to have classes, Gurukul classes, where under the tree the students and teachers can interact, or the students can stay there, stay with the gurus and learn. Then you have shifted to a sort of a modern education system with the introductions of the British introduction, that classroom teaching, which is actually a teacher-centric teaching that we have been doing it, and we all of us have studied from that module. In fact, I think, ma'am, I would like to add in my part that I have studied my all schools from Tamil Nadu state government schools, include, and also my graduation from government colleges. So I'm not studied in any cosmopolitan or any city schools or colleges, Ivy League colleges. I'm from very much from the product of the state government, Tamil Nadu state government board till my +2, and also graduation from government college in the medium of instruction is Tamil. I studied from Tamil language, my graduation in physics. So we had seen the traditional school system, the traditional classroom atmosphere from the college days. So the lecture comes there and he delivers a lecture. The post lecture, the material will be circulated. And this has been the practice. I don't know about right now, the current practice, what is happening now, but I'm talking about the traditional, how we have learned. And so there is a concept of notes sharing. So everybody will go before exams to hunt for notes. I want notes for this particular subject, or go for tuition to get notes, or pay money to the teachers to get the notes. So and also you can have a lot of notes available there. So this is our traditional mode of learning. So now what is the blended learning? As for the definition goes, the blended learning is actually learning is a model that combines online and face-to-face learning spaces and experience. So the blended learning is not totally e-learning. It is combining the face-to-face, the FTF, the face-to-face interface with the students learning in the classroom, and also some sort of the technology, which means the mode of deliveries, the models. So how we are going to combine. So this is a simple definition of blended learning. So you can see in the diagram, Venn diagram. So you have a traditional classroom training where the teacher comes, stand in front of you and delivers the lectures. Whereas in the blended learning, what happens is that the teachers, obviously is not replaced by the technology, but rather the teacher is enabled by the technology to deliver not only the content to the students, but also empower them to adapt to the technology-based learning, so that they get access to vast resources or vast materials, and by that they would get their knowledge get enriched, their skills get enhanced. So the teachers plays an important role, significant role in bringing the students into the technology platforms and also making them to learn. I remember when 20 years back, the computer classes are very popular, or 15 years or 20 years back, the computer classes are very popular. So we are very after the computer centers to go and learn computers. Now we are not learning computers, but we are learning through computers. We are learning through digital platforms. We are not only learning how how Windows work, how to open the Windows. We are not learning that. We are going to learn. This is the next level of our technological advancement generations, that we are going to learn how we are going to use these devices and tools which is available to learn the subjects. So we are going to use these tools to learn physics. We are going to use these devices and technology to learn mathematics, to learn social sciences, history, in a more enriched and enhanced way that would help us in shape our conceptual understanding, knowledge, and the skills. So this is a kind of a comprehensive and integrated learning mode. So there are 7 steps in terms of, I have given in a sequential way that there are 7 steps in a way that this blended learning can be systematically implemented in our process of teaching. Obviously, the first comes the face-to-face training. As I said earlier, teachers cannot be ruled out in a blended learning process and in the curriculum deliverance, because teacher plays an important role. Then the teacher plays an important role in all these 7 steps. The teacher has to create a virtual classroom that we are going to discuss at the end of this presentation. in our hands-on experience, how we can create a virtual classrooms. Then the teachers can involve the students into a webinars, mostly kind of a discussion platforms or forums. So there is an active participatory learning from the students, rather than it is a one-way process. You go there, stand in front of the students and deliver the materials, irrespective of whether they have received the materials or internalized the materials, understood the concepts. We just pass the things. But in webinars where the students are asked to prepare themselves and come and in different groups, and then participate in the classroom activities. So there will be, it is a more of participatory learning rather than just a mono learning. Then the links. The teacher's role is also enable the students to get access to various platforms, various materials, various resources by providing various links. So the teachers also learn and also the students learn. When I started learning this online mode, I remember I got exposed to this online blended learning in 2010 when I was doing a course in as a PhD research fellowship in Berlin. When I entered the university, Berlin Free University Berlin, they asked me to go and sign in a Blackboard. So I thought, I didn't understand what is the meaning of Blackboard. So there is a software Blackboard. Every students who join the university, they have to sign in and get an access password from the Blackboard software. Once you get the passport, then you get access to all the lectures, library materials, research experts available on your research areas. So everything is available on that, and your time, your activities, your participation everything is logged. What time you will be opening and signing in on that, how many times you are accessing, and when are you getting in and when are you getting out, how many books you have borrowed, how many material, what are the journals you have accessed, everything is logged in that your account. Once you finish your course, and when you get out of that particular program or course, they will have a proper data of how that particular students have learned and how teachers also helped. So it is like a both-way learning. So technology brings the teacher and students accountable to the profession. So the learners are also accountable and monitored. The teachers are also accountable and monitored. Then you have the fifth step, simulations. The simulation is some sort of an activities based, which can provoke the students think and act in a particular way. The sixth part is an assessment of how you assess the students. Here we are not assessing the students on how much materials he had mugged up and delivered in your exam pattern. Rather, we are assessing the students how he responds to the questions which we have based on the subjects which we have delivered, content delivered in the online platform. So we are going to see that how it is like an MCQ questions on the online, based on the online questions, then how he internalized the concepts and understood the basic stuff, rather than marking up particular for the particular purpose of writing an exam. The next question comes, what is the benefit of blended learning? You may ask, sir, why do you have to have a blended learning? As you know that we are now in the midst of a crisis called the the COVID-19. I don't know whether how long this will prolong, but as far as the news coming out is that I think this is going to be the new normal in education sector, and it is going to be a revolution in education sector. This coronavirus, I would see in a positive way, or I'm very optimistic to say that the corona has given an opportunity to shift to the digital platforms, especially the education sector. So last 50 days, we have been, even though people initially, they are very critical and very apprehensive about the technology-based learning, or they used to say, or even dismiss, no, technology, we can't do it. In our country, it is not possible. We don't have the infrastructure. Especially the state which I am teaching now, Jammu Kashmir, for last 6 years, we hardly had good internet connections. So it is very difficult to get the students in the online platform as well. So all these reasons, now we are forced, we don't have other options. There is no alternative. There is no other options to study except this. So we are gradually shifting towards these things. So the COVID has accelerated this model of teaching, and it is again a teacher's need. The teacher has to deliver the content. The teacher has to, as a teacher, we have to finish the curriculum. We have to deliver the content. So the teachers are in a much more need and urgency to shift towards the digital mode, so that their duty and responsibility is fulfilled by delivering the content via online platforms. So the blended is now being forced by the circumstances and situations. The benefits of blended learning, there are 5 benefits I have just broadly outlined. There are multiple benefits. Of course, when you start doing it, you will get to know a lot of benefits. But I have just broadly clustered into the 5 big, broad benefits. The first benefit is cost effective. When I say cost effective means we can do the blended learning or the curriculum deliverance, whatever the softwares and the platforms available at free of cost. It won't cost much in terms of the software buying, and a lot of online softwares are available, and some universities are actually buying those softwares and started buying the softwares and implementing it. For instance, recently the Kendriya Vidyalaya schools, they have shifted all their students and the teachers into Google platform, G Suites. So all the teachers across the country, first standard to 12th standard, I'm just giving an example. So they have they have shifted all of them into the G Suites and Google Classroom. So even the first standard kid is now got an email ID and got an access code to access the first standard materials classworks through Google platform. So, and there is without any much cost. So this is a kind of a revolution in a revolutionary transformation in education sector. I'm just giving an example of school education. I think more colleges and universities are rapidly shifting towards the online and blended mode. At least, if not 100%, at least the 50%. Maybe the new education policies also emphasis on this part. So the second aspect of this online, the blended mode, this is exclusively for the teachers, is the consistent in activities. What do you mean by consistent in activities? Here means that once the student or users, we call it as a user, not students, when they are introduced to the online platforms and you have shared all your curriculum of a particular course on online mode, the students can come back at any time and go back and access the previous units, the previous chapters, materials. So even if he miss out or even if he forgets, but this is not possible in classroom learning. For instance, if I'm teaching a first unit in last month and now I've started the second unit, the students will miss. So the traditional mode, what happens? We go to ask our friends, can you just give me notes? The first unit I was not attending. I didn't attend for the last 3-4 classes. So whatever the notes that your friend of yours prepared, they will share it with you. So it is not proper notes. We don't know whether even if you would have done some mistakes, then that would have been you would also blindly follow those mistakes. So, but in a blended way, it helps consistently the users, especially students, to access the real material which has been given by the teachers. So he or she can go back at any time. In the hands-on experience, I will demonstrate how a student can go back and access the previous units, materials, and all the contents. The third aspect is very crucial and important: accessibility. The users and teachers. The teachers and student users can access anywhere, anytime, any device. The one example I can say, the real-time example is, I'm sitting in Jammu using the Zoom platform and teaching almost 300 participants, all the teachers, the doctors, the professors from various colleges in Tamil Nadu. So this itself an example of the accessibility to the learning process. So you can sit in anywhere. Some of you maybe, anytime that any device you can use, mobile phone or laptop, but you can access. Then the flexibility. Again, the flexibility is that the students can also go back and learn, even though if he or she done with that particular course, provided if he or she get an access. For instance, most of the colleges, some of the colleges, I remember in the National Institute of Education Planning and Administration, NIPA, when we were doing some sort of curriculum, the student survey exercise, we have done it. So what we got to learn that even those students who passed out from there, they also still can access those materials which is available there. So tomorrow, suppose, if you a student pass out from your college and he may become a teacher one day, then still he can go back to access and the teachers or your course. So this is the one flexibility they have. Then the last is about the benefit of the blended learning is the feedback which we receive from the users, which generally it is not preferable, or if it is not desirable in the traditional classrooms, because traditional classrooms we always try to make the students keep quiet and learn. We don't want them to actively participate, so they are afraid or sometimes scared of giving a genuine feedback to the teachers. But here you get to know through the process of the users learning, even though if they don't they are not vocal about their difficulties, you will learn, you will understand as a teacher the feedbacks coming from the different students, because the students are not same, and that every student has a different ability to grasp, understand and analyze and reflect on the subjects materials which we teach. In traditional mode, what happens is we are not able to understand or grasp this particular problem unless the student comes to you personally to share, sir, madam, I'm not able to follow this, I'm not able to understand this. And even though if someone comes and tell you, most of the time, which is my experience also, the teachers, very rare teachers would attend to it. Most of the teachers, because we are also busy in our own other responsibilities, so we will say, oh, okay, you take notes from this so and so person, he's a topper in your class, he will explain to you. So we'll discard that request. But in this case, it is not going to happen. The feedback is, again, as I said, logged in. You will have to attend the feedback, attend to them and clear the things. Now, how do you design the blended learning courses? Or whatever existing course, I'm sure all of you must be doing the blended, but still, how you integrate this, the designing and blended learning course, the existing curriculum or even the new curriculum, because now the new session is going to start in 3 months. So we have a lot of time. Even if you haven't put it in a blended mode, you can still do it. And I'm going to give you very simple, in the hands-on experience, the simple platforms to do it without further elaborating and getting into details, because that will require a separate workshop and training for all of you for at least a 2-3 days workshop to learn platforms, how you can convert the platforms. So here there are 5 aspects. One is that the focus on, there is a typo error, it is not individual, it is an individual context. So the first one is on the focus on individual context. So individual context, when you are making your curriculum, transforming your curriculum into a technology platform or introducing technology into your curriculum, you need to keep this in your mind that in according to the individual context, that it varies from discipline to discipline. For instance, I teach security studies or international relations or geopolitics. It is totally different from somebody will teach history, economics, physics, chemistry, mathematics, environmental science, biology, geology. So all these courses, it varies because every discipline has different requirements and different resources. So you need to focus on that individual context rather than going for a sort of a generic one. And also you need to see that how that we'll discuss in the next point, that the pace of learning of your students and the time framework. If it is a semester system, if it is a non-semester system, or how much time you are going to devote in the technology platform, and all these things you are going to focus before you introducing technology and the devices into your in the blended learning model. The second aspect is you need to understand the local challenges. This is the point which I am also currently facing. I've been teaching since last 50, 20, 100 days. I have faced a lot of these problems, the challenges, and we try to overcome this. Problems are very localized, challenges are localized. So one is the first is the technological problem. Like I said, students may be coming from villages, may not have a technological devices, may not have mobile phones or smartphones or access to laptops or computers. So this is all technological handicaps, and that is why we are not saying it is a totally online mode, because the country like us, which is so diverse, and you have a so diverse socioeconomic background, we can't completely, it will take time to totally transform the entire mode of teaching into an online mode. So you need to identify, map these technological issues. Then the cultural issues. The cultural issues, I just little bit elaborate, just give an example of things. I have a students, I have few students, they are from Kashmir, who are accessing the online my lectures. They're saying, sir, we will not come on Zoom and we will not switch on the videos because it is not permissible from our parents. So this is a cultural angle to it. So this is the girls that they say, no, we don't want to, because we don't want to use it. But this is a cultural aspect to it. So we need to sense, we have to be very sensitive towards these cultural things. So I said, okay, you don't have to switch on your video, you just listen and keep your audio on. That's it, as simple as it. So that you need to figure in your curriculum things. Then the socioeconomic background, which I have already explained, the students are lacking, I mean, if they don't have the device, if they don't have the access to internet, these are the problems, these are the challenges, not the problems, these are the challenges, how we can overcome these challenges. So what I have done a practice is that I have made a cohorts. Cohorts means a groups. So if those who doesn't have the laptop or mobile phones can be joined the other one who has laptops or mobile phones. And they can have through voice phone, I mean through audio calls. I think all the students are having these days mobile phones, if not smartphones. So at least they can share with those who have smartphones. Help each other and access to the materials. Then the third aspect is mapping learners' goals while you are sharing your content online. Like I think that this is a universal framework, especially in the Indian context. If any subject, suppose if you are teaching a physics or if you are teaching a history or modern history, or even if you are teaching a nuclear physics or you are teaching algebra, that particular subject has 5 units. That is the standard. I think we mostly universities and colleges follow. And while bringing that curriculum into the technology mode, you have to specify the learner goals for that your students, that is learners, or the users. What are the short-term goal that you are going to assign to your students and the long-term goal? So this enables the students also to enthusiastically participate, and they become very excited. Okay, I'm going to achieve this short-term goal. I'm going to achieve this long-term goal. This is like a simple, playing a video game. Okay, you reach that particular level, then you will get this point. Then you reach that another, then you'll get this mark, this point. So that is how you have to map the learning goals in particular unit. Okay, if I have completed this particular unit, what is what is my goal? Am I going to complete it, or I'm going to prepare for? So mostly I would suggest you keep after finishing every unit, I would suggest you to keep one seminar or one discussion forum in every unit. Make the groups and discuss that particular units, and you just facilitate that interactions and discussions. The next aspect is ensure online learning as a complementary to traditional one. This is very important. I wanted to emphasize here to all the participants that please ensure this online learning is just a complementary to traditional one. It is not a substitute to traditional one. Most of the participants, in my experience, what they do, they force the students to come to online mode without understanding this. So please ensure that students This is like you are holding the hands of the students. That is a teacher's responsibility, even if it is a students of higher education, even the research scholars who are doing a doctoral degrees, doctoral research. You have to hold their hands and bringing them to this mode. You can't simply push them into the technological based learning. So, and make them understand this is just a complementary to traditional one. It will not a substitute. It is not a substitute to it. So this is very important aspects. The last aspects, as I said, this is again while you are making the framing the curriculum, pay attention to your feedback. Feedback are very essential because the students, while going through the materials which you have shared through online platform, this material I'm not able to understand. It's too heavy. The English is very complicated, very difficult to understand. And some video materials you might have posted. And this is also related to the second point which I mentioned, cultural and socioeconomic. For instance, what we do is we share some video of some foreign experts or some foreign scholars. Their accent is very difficult, so the students are not able to grasp what that particular video, the teacher, that particular video says. So that's where the feedback is very important. So if that is the case, then you have to go back and rectify that particular resources which you have shared. So technology integration in curriculum. So the technological integration in curriculum, it is nothing but incorporation of technology resources or the technology-based practices in your routine classroom activities. Very simple. Whatever activities which we are already doing in the classroom, traditional classrooms, the classroom activities, we just bring the technology here slowly. For instance, I would suggest to start with the WhatsApp groups. So have a WhatsApp group. I think most of you are already doing it. I'm not just saying something new. Which is most of you are already doing it. I'm sure 100% of all of you are doing it. The students are already doing it. So make it as a more professional. So even in a WhatsApp group, file sharings, you can use the simple Gmail drives so that they can share the files, or you can share the materials so that they can access anywhere, anytime. So all these things are very much slowly you can blend in the classroom activities. To sum up the entire presentation of today, this is the 3 cyclical process. For the traditional mode, as you can see in the screen, the blue club circle says that the traditional mode, you have the content, that is the concepts and skills in a given discipline. Then you use the strategies and methods, that is pedagogy, to transform that content and skills to the students. But we are bringing this new element called technology, which has the tools and devices and softwares, which enables this transformation of content, which is concepts and skills, using the different sort of pedagogies and transform it to the students. So it is not a one-way process or a kind of a student-teacher process. It is more of a clustered process. So everybody would learn together and share and learning. So the teachers are also learning and sharing. And the last I would like to, the summing up point which I wanted to make is, what is the essential requirement for both teachers? This is based on my experience, for the students and teachers, which is essentially required to make that model successful. First of all, the teacher, as a teacher, we are the role model for students. We have to demonstrate that model, think that the students will automatically get inspired and admired, and they're able to follow you. The first thing is the teacher has to demonstrate the commitment and the sense of discipline. These two things, commitment, the sense of discipline, and the consistency in making this blended learning curriculum activities as successful. I repeat, commitment, the discipline, and consistency. Commitment in a sense that if the teacher schedules a lecture, for instance, okay, I have shared all the contents in an online platform, the students are accessing it. So every week I will have interactions on particular time and particular date. That is sort of a commitment that you have to commit yourself. Even the students are able, not some of them are able to join or not. Then you have a discipline, that this should be a disciplined group rather than chit-chatting groups, which happens in the traditional classrooms. That's why I find the blended mode, especially when you use technology, we don't get distracted. Like I'm now talking to you via Zoom, and I don't have any distractions because I can't see all of your faces and I can't see the environment. So I am very much focused and I'm not I'm not getting distracted. So that sort of sense of discipline you need to introduce in the curriculum itself. Discipline is not like with respect or paying respect and other things. Discipline in the sense, discipline in terms of following the task which you are assigning to the students. So getting their feedbacks, and you are also changing the curriculums. This is actually a discipline which I meant here. So the students has to be in discipline in terms of whatever the task assigned, that they have to follow regularly and ensure that everything will. I'm sure 100% you will face problem. The students will run away. The students will come out with all the excuse like the traditional class platforms. But slowly they will get accustomed to this model. The last aspect which I wanted to emphasize on the consistency. So when you start this course, if it is a semester system, I think in most of the colleges, they are following the choice-based credit system and semester system. There should be a consistency. So what happens is that the most of the teachers, they start in the beginning just to show to the administration or the university or the college administration, sir, I have done it. Then after that, they will not do anything. They will tell the students, you go and access all the materials. If there is anything, I'm here. You can come and wait. So this is actually what happens. This will create a break. The students will also lose interest. If your teachers are not interested, then the students will obviously lose interest. And you have to show to the administration. This is some practical problems I'm seeing that from the side that I have done my part. I have done uploaded. You asked me to do, I do it. So then that's why the commitment. You have to have your own commitment to your course. This is your course and you are doing it instead of to satisfy somebody else or the administration or college administration. Okay, I have done it, because it is your responsibility as a teacher, or it is our responsibility as a teacher that I am teaching this course and this is my responsibility to deliver the students. And these are the skills which I have learned and I have to slowly bring the students. And this is how we have to do it. The same way 20 years back, our teachers, how they have helped us to slowly taken us to the learning computer, how to hold a mouse, how to do search, all these things. So similarly, we are also going to do this. So I stop here. My lecture is over. I think I stop. My presentation is over now. Now I may request the organizer, if there is any questions or any clarifications, we will have 5 to 10 minutes. Then we will have go for the hands-on experience mode. Over to you, madam.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Ask your question, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, good afternoon. Yeah. Your presentation is very good, sir. I learned so many methodology from your presentation. I'm working in a B.Ed college, sir. So what model?
What is your name? Please identify yourself.
Yeah. My name is Nirmala from CSA Bishop New Begin College of Education.
Okay.
Nirmala.
Okay. Okay, please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. So what model it will used for the B.Ed class?
Mm-hmm.
Which model we can used to the B.Ed. I mean, blended learning means it is a combined work, no, combined
Yeah.
technologies. So which
Yeah.
one it's aptly we can use? Which tool is used to
Hello.
effort to make a teaching and learning process, sir?
Coming back to the tools, madam, the technology can be introduced in all the disciplines like B.Ed, M.Ed,
Yes, sir.
social,
Yes, sir.
history.
Yes, sir.
But
In
I would
particularly
suggest,
B.Ed.
I would suggest for the B.Ed and M.Ed course or all the social sciences, all
Yes,
the
sir.
social sciences and humanities, there is
Ah.
a tool called Moodle.
Oh,
Moodle, Moodle, which I am going to demonstrate in the hands-on experience.
okay, sir.
So that platform is very efficient and it is available free of cost.
Sir, once again, model. M-O?
ODLE.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Moodle we can use it, or similar to Moodle, Genomia.
Yes, sir. Okay.
These two tools we can use it, and I'm going to demonstrate. This is for social sciences, and sciences also you can use the theory part.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
clear? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, pleasure. Who's next? Madam, can you go for those who are raise the hand? Should I ask only those who have raised the hands one by one, so I will be able to know who are all. I will share with Dr. Rajeshwari Madam, so you will get the PPT.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
So may I ask something? This
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to know.
Morning, sir.
Am I audible? May I ask?
Morning, sir.
Yeah, may I know who is this?
Ma'am, good morning, sir. I am Intra,
Okay, please
sir,
go
from
ahead.
Amrita College of Education.
Okay,
Amrita College of Education, Kanyakumari district.
okay.
Sir, we are already using Moodle app,
Mm-hmm.
your system.
Great.
So, further we are implementing Google Classroom teaching also,
Very
including.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, can you explain how we can improve the Moodle classroom in various aspects?
Hello.
Yeah. Madam Indra, madam, I think Moodle and Google, these are the most.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Moodle and Google Classroom. These are the most efficient tools available for we can use these two platforms. Moodle has its own advantages. Google has its own advantages, but I would suggest for the college level teaching, Moodle is much more efficient than the Google Classroom, because Google Classroom you may not have a lot of features like Moodle has. That I am going to demonstrate.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello?
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Hello?
for your wonderful
Yes.
performance. For
Thank you.
wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please identify yourself.
Sir, I am Dr. G. Muruganandan.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sir, I am Dr. G. Muruganandan from Pondicherry, Vivekananda College of Education, Pondicherry. Hello.
Yeah, I'm hearing. I'm hearing. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want one question, sir.
Uh-huh.
Sir, I have done one package from eContent.
Mm-hmm.
That package is depend upon the school level.
Okay.
So if I can able to use to teach the BA students,
Mm-hmm.
which model or which package is so effective, sir? Because
What is the
in
package which you are? What is the package you are talking about?
e-content.
See, that e-content package is the courses and course materials. The tools are different. Like I said, the tools and platforms to deliver. Is different from the course contents. Course content you can access in any way, like MOOCs, Swayam Prabha,
MOOCs,
yeah, all these things. That is our course content, which is available, and you can create your own content. But we are talking about the blending. When you say the blending, the technology means how we are shifting the syllabus, the curriculum into the technology platforms. That's what we are focusing on. So how we introduce the technology platforms, As I said, I addressed Indra Madam. You can go for Google Classroom or Moodle platform. For colleges and higher educations, social sciences and humanities, I would strongly recommend or suggest Moodle platform is much more efficient or effective and is also student friendly also. Then a lot of features are available in Moodle. Then the Google Classroom.
Okay, sir. Already I have engaging class through Google Classroom,
Good.
but I want only one doubt, sir. The
Mhm.
model model you told MODLE.
MOODLE.
DLE, it is a model of
It's not model.
MOODLE. Model. It is not model. It is
sorry,
Moodle.
Moodle, sorry, sir. It is a Moodle, MOODLE,
For
Moodle.
object oriented environment.
Yes.
Where it is available, sir?
It is available. You just go to the Google it, and you will get it. You just
One more
Google
name
it.
you told to us, JN, something, that time I can't able.
Genomio.
Sorry, sir.
I
Spell
will
out, sir.
demonstrate.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
The demonstration you all will learn about the Moodle.
Okay.
Is there any specific questions to what we discussed in the slides? Then
Yes,
we'll
sir.
switch
From
to
yes,
hands-on
sir.
experience.
Yes, sir. From side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
move to
Thank
next
you, sir.
question. Anything specific to the presentation?
Yes,
The
sir.
next-
I want to asking one question from your presentation, sir.
Yeah, please.
From the steps, the last one is consistency. Please, sir, you can able to explain again what is the consistency, the technology integration of the curriculum, sir.
See, consistency. When I say, which means that the teachers consistently engaging in the platforms. So it
Okay,
is
sir.
not like you just upload your materials, you just activated your platform, but after that you don't respond to the feedback, you don't update your materials, update your courses, and have the discussion forums. So it is a teacher's responsibility to consistently engage the students in the technology platform.
Okay, sir. Well, the commitment also same, na, sir? The consistency
Same is
commitment.
when you have a commitment, then consistency will automatically come.
Yes,
Suppose
sir.
you
Thank you so
fixed.
much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Who's next? Please
Good
identify
morning,
your
sir.
name. Yeah, good morning.
My name is Kanhaiya ji.
Okay, Kanya ji.
So my question is, you have told about 7 steps for blended learning for
Okay.
effective teaching. In that there is a step simulation. Can you please tell about simulation?
See, the simulation is if suppose you have you have shifted your curriculum into the online platform. Okay, you have shifted your curriculum in the online platform. I request all the participants, please mute yourself. Only those who are asking questions, unmute yourself. I request all the participants, it will be easy for all of us to understand. Please mute yourself. Only those who are asking questions can unmute yourself. Then after your question is done, please mute yourself. Now we are going to accept Kanya ji. All of you, please mute yourself. Madam, can you just please mute all? Just mute all and just unmute Kanya ji and myself. Madam, can you just mute all and unmute myself and Kanya ji? Rajeshwari madam, can you mute all and just unmute Kanya ji and myself? Kanya ji.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kanya ji, to your question, simulation is to make the students engage in the once your unit is finished, your content is done and you have delivered and the students have gone through the practices, then you have to engage them by some sort of giving some activities like discussion forums or chat.
keyword create a story. I couldn't
Hello. So please don't share any screen. I request all the participants, please don't share anything. There is the etiquettes. Please don't share your screen by mistake. Please mute yourself so that you will hear what others are asking questions. So Kanyaji, to your query, the simulations are meant for some sort of activities and discussion forums at every completion of every unit. Is it clear? And you can also create more way of thinking. For instance, you can share one interesting article in that particular discussion forum and ask all the students to reflect on that. What do they think? And that particular topic related to that unit. So this is one way of simulations.
So please, can you repeat, sir, because your voice was not audible, sir.
Okay, so simulation means this is to stimulate the students to think. Upon completion of your unit, at the end of your every unit in the online mode, you add any discussion forum. Maybe you can share what subject are you teaching?
So learning and teaching.
So suppose you can add any sort of materials or any sort of videos or any sort of some sort of documentaries. You can share the link and ask the students to come go through it and come and reflect and share their views and share that. This is one way of simulating them to think. So that is in that way they will also learn. Merely just sharing the materials is not sufficient, and asking them to reflect on that particular material, whether it is a multimedia material or in the reading materials. That is actually simulation mode. So what we have is we give the notes and they ask them to read. And they will come back only at the exam time and they will write the answers. But in this particular mode simulations, you share one particular article, which it could be a newspaper op-ed or some small research thing, or some sort of a small documentary or some movies. So these sort of things that you can ask the students to leave and go through it and come back and reflect on it. So for instance, there are a lot of autism is one of the issues that kids are facing. And there are many other issues in the learning process, because we are teaching this to teachers. We are training the teachers. So they should learn that how they should also understand the certain problems, different able students. So there are a lot of movies and a lot of content available in the open source. So those materials you can ask the students to reflect. That is a simulation.
Thank you, sir. Your presentation was very nice and your explanation was too nice.
Thank you. Kanyaji, where are you from?
From Patna, Bihar.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Badhiya.
Thank you, sir.
Dhanyavad. Who's next?
Devishri?
Yeah.
Your question?
நான் காலையில வந்து இது ரவை கஞ்சி செஞ்சேன். ஹலோ
மேடம்.
அம்பிகா,
can I please mute them?
Ilavarasi ma'am.
தூங்கிட்டு இருக்கீங்க? அப்படிதான் தெரியுது. நான் எப்ப கொடுத்தேன்னு சொன்னீங்களா?
Can I please mute them? Ma'am, I can see the hands raised on this Ayyappan, Sivagam, Sundari. Can you just go one by one? If they don't respond, we will remove their hands. Yeah, Ayyappan, Mr. Ayyappan, Dr. Ayyappan. Ayyappan, do you have a question? Okay. Next, Sivagama Sundari. Madam, Sivagama Sundari. Madam, you have any questions? Next, Jaya, N. Jaya. Madam, Dr. Jaya, you have any question? Ma'am, can you, those who are not responding, please remove their hands and mute them, sir. Mute them. We have a next. Okay, I think I will shift to the hands-on experience with your permission, Madam Rajeshwari, Madam, or Jitesh Parmar. Madam, can you just unmute Jitesh Parmar and Harpreet Kaur.
Jitesh.
Jitesh Parmar.
Jitesh Parmar.
Yeah, Jitesh ji, please go ahead.
Mr. Jitesh Parmar.
हाँ जितेश जी प्लीज, हाँ थोड़ा आवाज कम आ रही है, आप दो देख लीजिए। जितेश जी थोड़ा आवाज कम आ रहा है। यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल जितेश। Now keep your microphone near to your.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, little bit.
Hello.
Just yeah. Please ask. Please go ahead, Jitesh.
Okay. Yes. I am from management field, and in case of management, there is concept of case study.
Where are you calling from? May
Moodle
please identify yourself.
Myself, Dr. Jitesh Parmar. I am from Muka Tarsadia University. It is in Gujarat.
It is in Gujarat.
Okay. So there are case studies in the classroom.
Okay.
So how studies can be taught online using Moodle on either platform?
No, it's not audible, Jitesh. You are asking what is that? Which platform is suitable for management courses? Jitesh, Dr. Jitesh, are you asking which platform is useful for management courses? Is it that your question?
Yes.
Jitesh, your voice is breaking. I would suggest for the management courses, Moodle platform is the most efficient, and simultaneously you can use Google and Moodle also. It is not like either of this or that. You can use 2-3 platforms, multiple platforms. It is not there is no standard rules that okay, you can only use this particular platform. Since I said the technology, the blended mode, you can use whatever the technology is available. We can use both modes, like Google Classwork as well as this thing. For instance, I'm using Google Classwork for lectures and Google Meet interactions with the students. But the content and everything is done through Moodle. Yes, Harpreet Kaur, Madam Harpreet Kaur, Madam Harpreet Kaur or Krishna Priya.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please identify yourself. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. This is Harpreet, Assistant Professor of English at Government PG College Sector 1, Panchkula, under the Higher Education Department, State of Haryana. So I'm really thankful to you for your time and for the knowledge you have transferred to us.
Pleasure.
Yes, my question, sir. I was just wondering that being on the online mode for a long period of time puts a lot of strain on the eyes, the concentration level also. Plus, I'm a teacher of English language and literature. When it comes to teaching long texts like poetry and plays, the kind of voice modulation, the gesticulation, which is more feasible in physical space, is not that much possible in the online mode, looking at the audio disruptions that keep on taking place. So how to cope up with that?
This I have already specified, the understanding the challenges. What you are highlighting is the challenges.
Yes.
And I totally agree with you. The courses like English and all, there are a lot of text to be read and the modulations and the phonetics to be improved. That's what my point is. We are not talking about the total transformation of your syllabus and curriculum into online mode. You can fine tune what are the aspects of your curriculum can be taught or delivered in the online platform. What are the content which is required to be delivered in the traditional mode. So that's how that you need it as a teacher. It is again as the discipline specific. Like I said, you need to focus on these individual contexts. So your context is different. So accordingly, you can fine tune, customize your the blending framework, so that these are the materials to be taught in the online mode and the classrooms mode. For instance, let me finish that. For
Yes,
instance, you have more literacies to read and more poets and other things, aspects in the linguistics, phonetics, all the other aspects. So you can see that some of the materials where you can, for instance, you can share different video lectures which is available in the open sources like YouTube sources, the famous linguistic scholars, which explains the theoretical background or the conceptual understanding of particular the unit, that you can shift it in the online mode. When it comes to actual the reading practice, the poetic practice, phonetics and all, then you can do it in the classrooms. But the same materials, you deliver it in the online mode or the digital mode or the technology platforms, those technology devices, platforms. So the students will already get an access to read at home or wherever there is they can read according to the convenient time. But when they come to the classroom, they don't waste time and just to simply come here and repeat. Rather, they're already prepared, and when they come to the class, they've already have the content to read. The point which you raised, that there are a lot of health benefits vis-a-vis the way you use technology and other things. I think we are all almost accustomed to do. We are more, and if you calculate how many hours we are looking at our smartphones every day, so that is how we are driven towards the technology now. There are always a health benefit that it is. That's why discipline is very important. How you get organize yourself, your time. Okay, I will sit for this particular time to finish this particular task in this online mode and offline mode. So some of us, like teachers, we don't. We will switch off our internet connections in the evening, like 4 or 5 hours, so that we don't see any WhatsApp, the notifications. So that in that particular time, I don't see notifications in WhatsApp group, and I don't keep on also. So I'll log in my email ID, so to see who sent what mails. So there is a time specific that the teachers has to manage, and that is where the discipline plays a role. And thank you very much for participating in this program and joining from all the way from Panchkula. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Next question.
Sir, I am Krishna Priya.
Yes,
Can you
madam.
hear? I am
Yeah.
principal of Amartha College of Education, Nagarkoil.
Okay, madam.
I would like to ask a question, sir. That's because we are going behind some steps in teaching learning process as far as B.Ed is concerned. And if we implement this blended learning, can we really satisfy the needs of our students?
Madam, I think you are in such a position that you can almost be a motivational factor or inspirational factor in your college, and is gradually bring most of the teaching and learning things into the online platform. Your question is about whether can we satisfy the students.
Yeah, psychologically, whether we can approach or whether we can satisfy them.
We can, because now this is the new generation of students. They call the millennials, or they call digital natives. Now that the terms are being used, digital natives and the millennials, they are very much into the online, like offline mode. For all of us, we have gone through it. They don't go to the library and go and check catalogs and find the books and sit there and read. Okay. Because that's not possible for them, that the new generation, unlike us, we can go to library. So the generation is also changing. So so it will be effective, and more or less there is a psychological aspect to it. As you mentioned this, anything which is new and technology based, we are excited to learn. That's a human psyche. So when we had a transistor, we are all very excited to see how transistor works. Then we had a tape recorder, we are all excited to have how tape recorder functions, want to listen to songs. Then you had a Walkman, then iPad. It is evolution. Then we had a computer. A lot of us are excited to use computer and Then you had a laptop. Now you have a smartphones. So this is generally the basic human psyche. If anything new comes, there is a curiosity to learn. The teachers, the teachers are the the major component into the blended mode learning. If the teachers are not ushering the students into this platform, then the students will not get interested or joining, because the students are already in the digital platform. The new generations, they are already in the digital platform. They are not reading only the materials which we supply to them. They have open sources. They have access to the internet, the information highway. They get best of the things in the open sources than what is given and delivered in our classes, our colleges, our universities. So they no longer rely on the materials which is supplied by the universities or the colleges or the teachers. So we have to keep this in mind, and the teacher needs to be sensitive about this thing. That the teacher, for instance, if I am teaching economics, the teachers get quick access to an interaction with even the Nobel laureates, economic Nobel laureates, and listening to the Nobel laureates, which was which was not possible in our times. So you have a responsibility. I would suggest you to keep this, as I said, the consistency is very important. Our culture also shows that we have our learning process is kind of incremental and gradual, not like a kind of quantum leap. Okay, today I will do this much like. So you consistently keep doing at least once in a semester one program about the digital learning. So without expecting the immediate return or outcome, so slowly you bring, give some sort of workshops, conduct workshops, and Dr. Rajeshwari Madam is there. She will help you to how to conduct and training sessions, one-day workshops. You can use it in online mode like the Zoom mode. So we bring only exclusively for your colleges. So, and we voluntarily ask the teachers, like identify one teacher from one department. It need not to be only the professors. It can be an assistant professors at the junior level faculty. So you, if you create a one person who is able to come involved in the blended learning in each department, that is an asset. So they will spread. It is like a learning from seeing. So other colleagues also will get inspired. Okay, this particular faculty is doing it, so I will also do it. So that is how gradually you see 1 or 2 years, at least your the department will able to 50% of the content is delivered digital.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your
explanation.
Thank you.
Madam, can we go for the hands-on the experience or the practice, or I'll demo, or we'll take some few questions? I'll leave it to you.
So, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Can go, sir.
Okay.
Hands-on training is.
Yeah, thank you very much for all very interesting questions we have got. And right now we will be shifting to I'm just going to demonstrate that how the content is already in the put it in the transform in the platform. And I'm not going to teach how are we going to do it. That requires a separate workshop on but I just going to demonstrate how it is already in their place, how the students are getting access. All of you, can you able to see?
Yes, your screen.
All of you are able to see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is the platform, the Moodle platform. And just before that is made. So the meaning of Moodle is modular, object-oriented, dynamic learning environment. This is a cloud-based learning platform which is available. The basic feature is available free of cost, so you can access. It is called modular, object-oriented, dynamic learning environment, as it suggests. Now this is my Moodle page I have created. It is called chaumojagan.moodlecloud.com. When you go to Moodle, when you Google Moodle, you will get the Moodle cloud site. You have to register. Very simple process. and you can register and you can open an account. Once you got your ID, like what you see here, this one on your address bar, this is my Moodle address. This you can share with your students. So they will get access, and there is a mobile phone app is also available. The Moodle app is available, so they can also download. It is very light. It doesn't consume much cheap MBs, so you can use it, and it's very safe as well. So this is my dashboard where what are the courses which I am already offering. Just I'm going to give a demonstration that what are the courses which I am already offering. So I'm offering 5 courses right now for the PG courses. One is India's foreign policy, globalization and geopolitics, and research methods, and border security management in India. Yeah, these are the three paper which I am right now currently it is running courses, and these syllabus were approved by Board of Studies and School Board, and already been teaching in the traditional mode. So I'll just show you one example of how the courses are uploaded in the thing. So let's go to the globalization and geopolitics. This is the course. So once you see, this is the course page where I have, this is a main page of course. It has, like all other subjects, has the 5 units. The unit 1, introduction to geopolitics. The unit 2, theories of geopolitics. The unit 3, contemporary geopolitics. Likewise, you have globalization, 5 units it has. This is the units which we have already uploaded. So when I click the contemporary issues in geopolitics, now I have, these are the 3 broad topics of contemporary issues in geopolitics. Let me see. And this I'm not going to discuss here. How are we going to upload all these courses? How are you going to do this? These I'm not going to discuss because this will require a separate, I would say, 3 days, 4 days workshop timeline. I think Madam is also in the discussing of how to plan such workshops in future. I think she will be able to. She may conduct a similar workshops in future. She's working on it, so hopefully you will be able to join again on this workshop. So now the unit 3, these are the topics of this main topics of the unit 4. There are 3, 4. I have given a 3, but you may have a 3, 4 subtopic of the broad themes in that particular unit. And I have given the materials uploaded here. You know, these are all the materials available for them. So they already have the materials. I'll just show you one material. Maybe, you know, okay, let's see. So if the student clicks this, the Clash of Civilization. Again, I'm saying this is pertinent to my subject. It may differ from the Tamil language or the music or some other things, you know, it may differ. So this is actually taken to that particular article. So the students can read that article. So it will prompt to them that particular article, and they will read here these articles, like whatever the theme, they will read it, and everything is logged. So I have uploaded this material, they will go through it, and when they come to the class, again, I'm going to discuss on that particular thing. One thing I wanted to emphasize, it is not like, okay, whatever it is, put it in the online platform, we will not discuss in the classroom. It's not like that. The classroom, it is only for discussion. The students' learning happens at home or wherever they are there. Learning happens, their reading happens outside of the classroom, but discussion and learning happens in the classroom. So we are switching the mode of the teaching by introducing the technology here. Yeah. So in this particular topic, there is a text content available, reading materials, and there is a video also available. The students can also, for instance, the geopolitical fault lines, the case of Afghanistan. There is an article, this is for the PG courses. I'm talking about the PG courses. It is totally different from the undergraduate courses. I'm just giving a demo, so you don't have to just to get the idea of how it is transformed, giving an example. So let's not just to follow what I'm doing it, because it differs from case to case and discipline wise. So there is a text available for the student also here in the format here, PDF format, and also the video is also available. So if I play video, so it will also, the students also can access and see those videos, which is being run on this platform. So they can understand, they can also listen to that particular topic related to the particular issues. Then again, I go back to this the course page. Yeah, and I have made some announcement, and recently we have conducted exams, the mid-semester exams, via Moodle platform, not regular mode, only via Moodle platform. I will just demonstrate that how we have conducted. So according to the, I'll just show you this. We made an announcement, the mid-semester examination, like the traditional question papers, what are the stuff which has. So it is according to our university. Just a minute. According to our all of you are able to see my screen? Madam, can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
Yeah. So this is the question format we might have seen in the traditional mode, no? So section A has 10 objective questions. Section B has 5 short answers. You have to answer. Section C has 22 marks. So this is, so we have made an announcement. So 1 week before this announcement was made. The moment when announcements are made, I will just show you. This is the course globalization. There is a participants. Participants are my students. So these are my students who have already enrolled. Their email ID, everything is there. So the moment when we make announcement, everybody will get an email. They'll get an email. And their logs also there. When did they access? 2 days back. So everything I have, I can even generate a report of it. These are the students, and these are the logs which we have been using to things. So once you make the announcement, and they get the notification, immediately they get the notification. And also we will also share it in the WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group. So in that WhatsApp group also it is shared, and we have made it very strictly that there is no good morning, good evening, good night sharing of some other than the course. Very strict about that. So nobody will share any nonsensical stuff. So based on that, we have created the question papers, like, multiple choice questions. So it comes, and the time is also fixed. You will learn, once you have this Moodle, you will learn how to do all these things. So the quiz closed on these things. So how the time is also fixed. So I'll just show you the preview. So once the time comes, then the students will start an attempt, and they will get this questions, and here the question navigations and also the time. So as and when the students answers, like then he or she has to submit, finish attempt, then it will get logged. Once she has done this has a time limit, 10 questions, 10 minutes. So 11 o'clock to 11:10 is the time limit we have given. So it is for them that this is the time limit, and they have to finish it by this particular time limit. Objective question is over. So once objective question paper is done, immediately you can see, the teachers can see how they performed well. You can get the chart. Here, I'll just show you the chart. So this is the marks and everything you get it. You don't have to physically verify it. Everybody got how much grade out of 10. So all the questions are correct. One is minus 1 because we have kept it -1 mark. We get the results, and this can be printed, and this can be submitted from your to your control of examiner, provided you need to get the head of institutions, being a principal should make it as a policy that now due to the coronavirus, our university has made the policy that you can conduct online mode. Even the UGC has said, whatever the platform is available online mode, you can conduct exams. And soon, I think the UGC is also coming out to specify that you can use the Moodle platform. I think it is in the pipeline. It will take at least 1 or a few weeks that it will be notified. They're already in the process. Then you will be able to get your answers here. It is much easier and manageable than the Google Classwork. Because Google Classwork, what happens is that because it's a big domain server, the traffic is very high. So even if you are having a slow connections, it gets hanged easily in Google network. But Moodle, since once you open the Moodle platform, they will give you a separate domain and separate ID, so that particular teacher will be using that particular students, and there is an option of offline mode also. I'm not going to in further detail that is a technical things. Offline mode, so which reduces the traffic, the online traffic, so it won't be difficult for the students also. Even with slow connections, they can access. So now the short answers. As again I said, the short answers we have. I'll just show you the preview. So there are 6 questions. So what I have done is, out of 6, they have to answer only 5 questions. Out of 5, they have to answer only 3. But there are 2 options. Either students can type here. If they are not able to type, we have given option. As I said, it is we are also very flexible, taking the feedback from the students and doing it. Students have complained. Some of them, sir, we are not able to type because some typing is not good or they are not used to it. So they said they written the questions on paper sitting at home, and they uploaded into the files. Here, I'll show you the files also. I'll show you the files. Then they submitted it. Finish attempt, they submitted it. So I got the file answer sheet here collected. So as and when I got the students have submitted, I would have got the message that saying that review students have submitted or finished and completed. So once I see this, then you can see the student's answer sheet has been submitted, and she had made the file name SBA2, section B, answer 2, PDF. So I'll just click it. My internet is very slow here. So once you click it, you will be able to see the files and you can grade it. Accordingly, you can grade it. Once you click this file, it will, it's downloaded. It's got downloaded. Then you can see the file. I'll just show you, open one file to show. Here this is not downloaded. Then you can open. Then you can see the answer sheets. This is, we have done it because of this COVID issues. We have to do it in the online mode, this Moodle platform. We have to use this Moodle platform. That's how we have done it through this for this time. Otherwise, if it is a open book exams, most of the universities and colleges are now, I'm talking about the sciences, social humanities and social sciences. Most of the universities and colleges are already going for an open book exam. If that is the case, students can write an assignment or something like that, they can upload. Or even if they don't have to upload, they just share the Google Drive link over there, they will get it done. So likewise, the short answers, the long answers, then accordingly, I would be able to allot. So once the first requirement is once you open your Google account, Moodle account, then once you have done this started the courses. How you upload courses and all, it takes a separate classes on the Moodle platform. Moodle itself requires a dedicated workshop. So there's a site administration. I'll just show you for things. Courses, you can add new courses, and there are options. It is very simple, like how we opened Facebook, how we opened other social media platforms. Same like this. You just add new course, then add courses. Either you add manually. I have added manually so that others. I have made manually so that I have made manually so that so that the other students cannot access. So only my students can access. So courses and users, these are the administrative part which you can use and access. Very simple process. For instance, browse list of users. So these are my list of users. As the course is over, I will just discard them. They are my students. They are my students. As and when the course is over, they pass out, I will discard them and I will use that. So and you can access anytime, anywhere, in any device. The students also can access from anywhere and any time and any device. And all the notifications, everything will be, there is a chat room. As I said, that at the end of the courses, we have created a chat room. So, and that the students also upload their topics in the chat room. These are all the simulations and exercise. Discussion forums also we have created. Each courses at the end of the every unit you can do it. So this is the one student has submitted their comment. According to the courses. So this is the just to demonstrate that how the courses, the curriculum can be transformed, put it in the mode, in the platforms, digital platforms, and you can still continue the classes. Now, due to the lockdown, we cannot meet in the classrooms to discuss and webinars and seminars. So what we have done is we are meeting every week via Google Meet. And every week we will discuss what as we progress the units, topics, and topic wise. So students already have the material, so they will read and they will come back. Okay, today we are going to discuss about the Kyoto Protocol. The students have already got the materials, so they can't also bluff me, sir, we don't know, I haven't done it, because material is already there. So it will be announced, okay, coming class we will be discussing 2-3 topics. So they have to be prepared. They come here and discuss and they share and reflect on that particular topic, then we'll discuss. If it is a regular mode, again, the classroom environment would be there and provided. So to sum up, what I wanted to sum up this their platforms. As I said, that there are 2 platforms like Google Classroom and Google. This Moodle platform. I'll just show you the Google Classroom also, what we have been doing. Most of you are already using it. So again, our university has subscribed to this Google domain. They have bought a G Suite. So this is my official email ID, and which is subscribed to my university, the Google domain. So I have unlimited space given by the Google. So I can share and I can start many courses. So I have uploaded all the courses here, but you don't see any materials. Here the Google Classroom we use for interactions and scheduling the Google Meet Google Meet lectures. So we have scheduled a lot of Google Meet lectures in the past. Every week we have scheduled the lectures and we have successfully done the lectures. Apart from the lectures, we have also started this web talk series once in a week or once in a month. In that series, we request the concerned experts. For instance, suppose you have now I can see 224 participants. You all from various parts of the country. So this became a one group team, and you all become a resource persons in your own respective field. You are the expert or resource persons. If it is a B.Ed or other English courses, so then this is available. Suppose you drop a message. So I am conducting teaching this particular unit. Can anyone be joined, interacting with our students? It's a 1 hour, 40 minutes interaction, 1 hour interactions. So schedule that lecture via Google Meet. It won't cost anything for your administration or anything. You can even schedule in the evening, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So let the students also listen from the other experts in the particular own domain. So the students should not be deprived or not depend on only the learning through only from that particular teacher. So the teacher also to be flexible to get more other experts and other field from in their own domain. So, and this university, I think the Tamil Nadu National University is one of the biggest university, I think in the unique university on teachers education, promoting teachers education in the country. And they have a lot of resource persons and resources available in the domain. So colleges can approach the universities to, and they would have a lot of people, experts working in their universities to can spend at least once in a lecture in a month and in particular college. But the college has to make an initiative, the faculty has to make an initiative to approach the expert persons, ensure at least one lecture in a month through online mode using Google Meet. If they don't have a mobile phone, you just telecast into that PowerPoint projector in a classroom. That is sufficient. So even those who don't have mobile phone or smartphones, they can also see one lecture. It doesn't cost any much. So these are the innovative ideas and ways to see how we can blend the technology into our teaching mode. Otherwise, what happens if Madam Rajeshwari Madam has to organize this sort of workshop, and the kind of efforts we need to put. I have to travel and I have to take leave from my university, permission from university. Then she has to arrange my travel, logistics, accommodation. Then all of you have to come, and some of you may not be able to join, or only 30 people are allowed to join. 30 participants can join. And for you, there is a travel and logistics and accommodations, food and everything. But now the technologies, look at the technology, it made it very simple and efficient. And all of you are now, your attending capacity is there. You are all listening. You are all just participating and focusing on it. So that is also, we're more productive. It's not like simply we go there and come there just for spend some time. And I got exhausted, weather is different. So I'm sitting on my own ecosystem, but I'm just delivering a lecture in your own respective ecosystem. You have your own ecosystem. One from Panchkula, one from Bihar, one different ecosystem. But it hardly affects us, very comfortable zone. That is what the point that today's lecture is, to how you blend the technology into the mode. Not full-fledgedly or totally or completely, that is a long way to go, but at least start process now in a small steps, in an incremental way. So that is how we can, that's the main idea of objective of our the today's presentation, that how we blend the technology into a mode rather than either completely or half-heartedly transforming the things, the curriculum in the online technology mode. I'll stop here, and once again I thank you all for patient listening, and also the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my experience and also whatever I have learned. I'm still in the learning process. I'm not a totally expert on this particular field, but I'm still in the learning process. But it's very interesting for me. The using technology is very interesting, and you will learn as you start doing it. It is not something which, because nobody taught us how to use Facebook. Has anyone had a lecture or a topic on how to use Facebook? No, we never used or even see the video how to use Facebook. It's all learning comes through doing by practice. So similarly, you will do some mistake, you will do some error, ask your friends, then only you will rectify and keep improving. The moment you start doing it, you will get very interesting. And the students also getting interested. They also getting more interested because they can access, they wanted to see that what is the new sort of materials are available. So if you keep reading material and also the video, now I'm getting the feedback from the students, sir, materials are taking a lot of time, sir. So better you give us the videos. And that is going to be the future now. Now the text is, I think, going to be replaced by the voice and the video and audio visuals. Now again, we are going back to the ancient mode of oral learning. Oral learning. It is going to be the future, oral learning. And not after 30, 40 years, the oral learning is going to be the future. Like we had it in ancient time. The all oral teaching. Text is very rare. The students are not comfortable, like we all gone through the notes and materials, spend a lot of time sitting on the notebooks and books, library and other sources. Now the students are listening to one audio and get a quick understanding of what the issue is and what the topic is. And it is very accessible. Accessibility is available. It's available to them. They don't have to depend on us for those materials. It is available in open source. So they are very smart. So this is blended learning is actually a smart learning. The blended curriculum is actually a smart classroom and the smart teaching and smart learning. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. I stop here.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Now, shall I conclude the session, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Please, pleasure.
Yes, okay. இது நன்றி நவலும் நேரம். First and foremost, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for allowing and motivating us to organize the national webinar. Next, I thank respected Registrar, sir, for supporting us to execute this program. Thank you, sir. With immense pleasure, I thank our Controller of Examinations and Dean of Faculty, the Professor, sir. Thank you, sir. With great joy, I would like to express my thanks to the resource person, Dr. Jagannathan, sir. Your hands-on training session was very useful for our upcoming educators, sir. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. Next, I thank our department colleagues, Dr. K. Devishri, Mr. R. Senthilkumar, sir, and Dr. K. Vijaya. Thank you for their cooperation. Finally, I thank all the participants who are the pillars of this national webinar program and present across the nation. And I thank all the resource scholars for their sincere presence. Once again, thank you very much to all of you. Nandri Vanakkam.
Thank you, ma'am.